Video game deal approaching. You let me play your indie game early. I make videos about it. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Give It To Me Now! This is a program where I explain the appeal of a game I've never played to lure the developer like an anglerfish. Pepper Grinder is a masterpiece that has been in the oven for a good while and available to try on game floors that I do not go to since 2017. You control Pepper, the whirling hardware specialist and pride of Home Depot, on an epic quest of drilling and chilling to save your treasure from pirates. Far as I can tell, it'll be a great time. Drilling looks super fun, there's flickering of puzzles, there may be a super strong replay value, and the game's world is weirdly fleshed out with a cheeky pirate vibe that hits a pretty good neuron. I've been diving in and trying to get a pulse early, so let's get on with why Pepper Grinder looks so good. First things first, at its core, drilling appears to be a visceral, satisfying, and sneaky deep gameplay mechanic. It hooked me with its sound design, raw, and central to the whole experience. I think we all agree chainsaws and stuff are rad, but the drill appears to take that shred everything appeal and grow it like a seed into loads of other gameplay elements. For one, you dig and tunnel really fast. The main mode of gameplay appears to be weaving in and out of dirtways, that's what I call them, of diggable material to collect stuff, knock out guys, and make progress towards the goal. It's not slow like Digger Doug, God rest his soul, but quick, which leads to the next thing, momentum. Described officially on Steam as dolphin-like, dipping in and popping out of the dirtways gives you lots of leaps and bounds to manage and even link into other dirtways, or combo off of grapple hooks and pivots and stuff. Swish, swish, brrr, swish, swish, brrr. This is the good stuff. I've obviously not gotten my hands on this game, but I can just feel how solid it's gonna be. Drill noises blaring, HD rumble popping off all over the place, action hyping you up. They were exactly right to assign the main move to a trigger. I am 100% okay with holding down the right trigger this entire game because I intuitively agree. That is the drill button. You hold a drill, you trigger it with that sort of pull. That's just how drills work. In Mario Wonder, drilling is a heck of a lot more fun than I expected it to be, but only ground pounding really feels like I'm digging into something. Jumping up and doing damage with my hat is nice, no lie, but it's not really as grippy and diggy. Maximum tactile joy seems to be at the heart of the Pepper Grinder mission statement, and you can really feel that in the 2017 trailer where one sequence sees Pepper clearing out a whole row of popper beetles. These are already clever enemies for the way that they block entry one way, then provide that ridiculously satisfying pop as you come up and get them on the other. Pair that with a huge emphasis on hook swings in this sequence, and you can see just how fun things can be laid out to be. Brrr, pop, pop, brrr, pop, brrr, pop, swing, swing, brrr, pop, that kind of nonsense. As if the notion of essentially swimming through the sand waves wasn't good enough, a lot of thought went into linking dig segments together with bursts of satisfaction. Nowhere is this more present than in the Lord Popper Beetle fight, where you square off with the king of all round bugs by digging around an arena to reach the ceiling, where you then push down to dislodge him. That's just mad. What first got to me on this was of course how brutal and awesome hitting him sounds, but the whole ring and ceiling setup really makes the fight just like wicked fun itself. It's a really good way to set up how fun tunneling and re-emerging can be going forward. Topping off this whole notion of instant fun is the vibe power. The trailer with like the drum and bass music, that got me into drum and bass. It had been a decade since I tried to listen to that, but it just paired so well with the more intricate sequences in display that I was like, man, this brings it up to a fever pitch of intense action. But the further research that I've done shows that the game won't be just an adrenaline rush the entire time. Actually, the early levels seem to have plenty of time just for standing around and picking at puzzles, featuring fittingly chill beats. The clip that really sold me on this range and fired me up to make this video was this dev tweet of an ice world. Here, the music is chill as hell, establishing wintertime relaxation. But then wait, these magnificent snowflakes, surely she can't jump into them and drill, I thought. That would just be too much. Wrongzo. Even here, the majesty of nature can be turned into an exciting drill rush, and it creates a gigantic range of feelings, from reflective to intense. It turns out that drilling into natural stuff like dirt and ice and rocks just might be a really versatile and inherently hype concept, so good job. Taking one step back, see that round gauge in the corner? The yellow wheel? I didn't really get what that was until, oh my god, that's some kind of overheat gauge. That's some kind of limiter on your usage. Turn your brains on, club. At first glance, this seems to be a straightforward dopamine rush game where you destroy things and fancy effects make you feel like a goddess. However, this meter management may be core to the gameplay just like drilling. Yellow coins are laid out like DK banana guidance, but in reality, those are recharging your tank and thus essential to grab. This layer is fascinating because it means that each and every time you dig into a dirtway, you also need to be looking ahead at where your charges are. I'm a big fan of thinking on my feet, so this goes a long way. I love to keep my eyes peeled as I explore a platform. I love being in sync with the game and matching my mind to the rhythm. Beyond path making, 6 big coins per level promise payoff for puzzle participation and peculiar path perception. I've been describing an action-focused thrill ride so far, but I'm not sleeping on the appeal of these puzzles either. The demo footage I watched seldom showed anybody getting all 6 coins on their first run, so odds are there's plenty to keep your brain peeled for. Level mechanics like timed fire spitters seem to promise a nice mix of doing and noticing, but if there are hidden bits to dig up, this is going to be a deeply, deeply stimulating little drill game. Sometimes you move quick while scanning for treats, sometimes you pause and engage in fun puzzles built around drilling or leaping, and sometimes you'll leap your hops between moving elements like a traditional platformer. It's too fun. I can't go on. Oh, but I could. I could probably play this over and over and over again once I receive a copy, digging into its puzzles and mastering its sequences, and I want to. One other feeling I have is that there is likely a sneaky depth to all of this. The constant path making, the frequent leaping. It seems like the more you play, the better you could pick your dolphin leaps, and the smoother you could nail fast-paced segments. Some kind of score system would also slap on the tightly choreographed bits, because they were made with such apparent care. And they're really not the only things. Everywhere I see little details like radishes to knock out of the ground, enemy hangouts to destroy, or like living rooms to plow through. There's a bit where the divs show like an empty cave from an early state with just some new tables and furnishings rising up in the water, and I'm like, huh, how neato. The furniture has its own water physics. If you look around at recent trailers though, the whole world is full with those kinds of details. The main enemy, the Narwhal, appears in a bunch of different varieties, and the recurring mole farmer is placed in different spots to like give each area a certain vibe. As you tunnel and plow, scouring for puzzle coins, a lot is also laid out to just savor. This is a really solid game, and I think the overworld map sells me really well. It's like this whole handmade pirate map thing, with like these Narwhal face mountains. It's just really charming. It's a satisfying ride, a sneaky deep thing to puzzle out, and seemingly all set in a pretty rich and detailed world. How good we are eating today. One final scene that really says it all for Pepper Grinder IMO is the Gotcha Shop. It's set up like a Funky Kong store, and I'll probably enjoy the side collectibles a ton, but what speaks to me way more deeply is that weird fucking Narwhal. Why is he wearing a mole farmer face? To what end is he wearing a mole farmer face? Is that flesh? How dark is this? It seems to suggest that mole farmers may be more friendly than narwhals, as if they may be more inclined to help us, and we may be more likely to purchase from them versus the narwhals who antagonize us. Then were they not wrapped up into the warpath the spiky hedgehog villain led the wogs onto? Could they be the ordinary residents of the island? If so, why are the mountains given invasive wog faces? Is that large-scale graffiti? Or are wogs and moles both native here, divided by the Drill Girl War? Then, are we being scammed? Is the wog trying to get some cash off of us? Why not just make an attempt on our life here and now and take all of our money? Does Pepper know that this isn't a mole? Is she playing along? I have no idea what's going on in this world, and ordinarily such a doofy dweeby enemy kind of thing wouldn't speak to me all that deeply, but it's being given such a strange level of detail that I really just have to wonder about it. The only vibe that I can really compare this game to is actually Zelda Wind Waker. A lot of people seem to remember that game as super wholesome to go with the cheerful graphics, especially things like Windfall Island, but coming to it as an adult, I was not blind to the cruelty of that universe. Gruff pirates becoming your friends is pretty tame, but why is everybody so mean to Link on Windfall Island? I call them the Isle of Bastards, and it like terrifies my friends. It feels like every human is just an asshole the minute you leave home. That sort of irreverent wacko vibe is exactly what Narwhal weirdness hits as, especially in the colorful pirate setting, but especially with the nicely decorated homes and the signs of island life and the inclusion of pine trees in an otherwise tropical setting, but especially the character design. Perhaps my greatest contribution to this hype train is, why does Pepper look so much like Link and Tetra? Sideburns, bangs, cheeky irreverent grin, similar proportions, uses tools boldly in green, and may be a pirate. What is up with this? They're like siblings. I like that. But enough comparison. Let me finish with a celebration of pure drill. Keys are drills. Mechs are drills. You even do the Mondo satisfying Kirby Robobot drilling on some platform thing. Oh, cinnamon sticks. And I lied earlier. It wasn't the sound effects that sold me on the game. It was that drill skull logo. That logo is so cool. Have you seen it? Tight action and shredding sound effects got my interest, but what stuck with me about Pepper Grinder is that drill, screaming out of a skull's overextended jaw with beautiful shaking blue effects to amp up the shred factor. It's just a good logo. Really, this video could have just been a YouTube short. This logo rocks. Let me play your game. Thanks. It's just so cool. If I have offered nothing to sway you by way of flattery, let me use one final tactic. Please let me have this game a lot early. Please let me enjoy it so much. Please let me tell everybody how much I like it. This is all that I can offer you at the current time. So, back to waiting for Pepper Grinder.